Oh, good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, and I'm in a quiet storm kind of mood. So tonight I have with me RDV and Professor Kixel. We're talking about the 2009 bomb of a karate movie, martial arts film called High Kick Girl, starring a lady that was in Karate Girls, a much significantly improved upon film that we've currently recently reviewed some time back here on the Extreme Movie Show. That, of course, being RDV and myself, your host, Rob. So tonight, guys, I want to sit there and start off by saying I was really disappointed in this movie. I thought the opening gambit was great. I get while young 90-pound looking women that kick every guy's ass might be attractive to a certain clientele around the world. I think this movie does not a good job of portraying this lady's skills. We get glimpses of some good stuff that we would see in Karate Girls later, but a tough film to watch, pretty boring for the most part. And I think the controversial nature on it's not these little girls beating up all these guys, although who am I kidding? It really is. I think part of it's how the action is shot because some of it looks really good and some of it's really not. And by that, I mean the slow mo effects. So let's go around a room. Let's start with you, RDV. Let's give us your quick initial impressions of this film.
This movie was a nothing burger. I wanted to like it going in because I saw the ratings. It was like a 2 out of 5. Or it was really bad. Didn't do so well. And I usually love giving movies benefit of doubt because critics are usually just pompous pricks. But in this case, they were right.
Yeah, it is one of those
Yes,
movies, right?
yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, and yeah, the main girl,
Rina Takeda.
yeah, Rina Takeda. She can still do the moves, but I just felt wow, like they really made her like just like a novice amateur. And it's not even that; it's the pace of the movie just went slow. I even watched this in a faster, one step faster than normal, and and it almost felt normal watching it. Like it should have been. But yeah, I would just say if you can get through this, the fight scenes towards the end is pretty much where the meat potatoes is in this movie. This is where you get like the good juicy steak part. The rest of this is just like you're waiting for your food. And it's like, man, it's been 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Where's my food? It's going to a bad slow serving restaurant. So if you can make a stomach, get through that stuff, you'll enjoy what you get towards the end.
All right, Professor Kixel. Not to be confused with Professor Pixel. What's your initial impression of this film?
I've been rough on some of the movies that we've reviewed in the past, and I know I can seem like the Simon Cowell of our bunch when it comes to kung fu flicks. This movie makes me wish that I was the Paula Abdul of those two movies, because this was an atrocity. From every cool move that they have, okay, there are some cool moves in here, some that make you go like, ooh, they decide, you know what, rather than letting that show up or to slow it down just for that move to show the impact, they decide, let's show it naturally, and then let's go back, edited poorly, 3 seconds, so that way you can watch it in slow motion. It's really just terribly put together. I have to say that, and I wish that I could like it and find something redeeming, but there are some cute girls in this. That's all there is.
I want to lightly touch on the repeating, the instant replays, slow motion. This movie had a right idea, for that. I mean, it's cool if you want to do that, but you got to have like sick moves. You got to do more. So they didn't capitalize on something that they could have done better. Instead, they just kind of I don't know. Maybe there's a low budget or whatever. Whoever directed this guy needs to be kicked himself. But the next movie, Karate Girls, they took the slow motion, the replay, and they put it to a much better movie, and it worked. It just didn't work in this because this movie was just trash.
Well, here's the thing. We're an American audience that does love martial arts, so we're not trying to dump on it.
No.
We have a healthy viewership that's overseas and Asian contingent, if you will. And one of the things feedback wise we've gotten a lot of suggestions about trying out a lot of these different style of films. And that kind of fell into what we do, where we'll take and do like a Japanese film, which we've done a few of those and they're actually pretty dark. We've done, of course, some of the Jackie Challenge just because that's supposed to be a certain standard. And regardless of what our personal likes and dislikes are about how we want to see martial arts on film, we understand there's certain distinct styles to it that somehow has escaped American movies since the 80s. And even in the 80s films, after the ninja craze here in America, we even saw some of our action heroes too were guys that basically transitioned to other roles for the second part of their career because they were getting older. So when we go to see a film like this, I'll at least say that the film tried to somewhat portray the girl as someone that's not a black belt trying to get it and feel that she's supposed to be on par with the guys. So I don't think it's taking a completely sexist attitude that we might rail about in an American film today, where one of the big common themes that people seem to be divisive about here in the US is tired of all these little girls kicking all these guys' asses. I mean, in this film that happens. She's a petite young woman. She's attractive looking. She's in a schoolgirl outfit. That's a thing. And she does do a lot of kicking, and it's the traditional, what we used to call ninja style here in the United States. People come at her one at a time and that's it. And a lot of what we've said is true. There are some really good moves in here. There's some neat choreography with some of the way the shots are zoomed in, so you see the entire thing happening from the kicker's perspective, or in this case too, the receivers. But we even talked about when we reviewed the Thai Warrior starring Tony Jaa that I didn't have a problem in there with some of the instant replays that were automatic, like a video game. But here that did seem overdone, and they seemed a lot slower, and they didn't seem as good. But again, what's confounding is typically we usually start with an actor and actress's earlier films and then build upon it, like Cynthia Rothrock, we've done with her films, right? But here we went out of order. We did the one that was actually the better film. So I got to at least say, there was enough here that I'll try to remain positive and say that they did build on it for Karate Girls, which we both thought positively of. Now, it still has the same limitations, if you want to call it that this film has, little petite girls beating the crap out of somebody, but it was done better and slicker. So I don't want to bang on it too much, but I found it a bit of a slog to get through. And the fight scenes were somewhat entertaining, and I think we do all agree that the end action scenes are really the best ones of the film. What were you going to say there, RDV?
I was just going to say, I was going to agree with you. It is a slow burner. It's 81 minutes, and this is actually distributed by the Toei company, who did Street Fighter, Sony Cheap, and all that stuff. So I was shocked to see this on their Wikipedia. I was looking it up earlier, and I saw that. I was like, I couldn't believe, I guess they're just distributing anything as long as they get a paycheck.
Well, the business is a little different. So, I mean, depending on which culture you're in, the way they do that, like we talk about Jackie Chan being an in-the-house project because that's where he is. And when he got big enough, he could go out on his own. Now it's not always like that.
Well, the reason I'm not trying to slight Toei, because Toei is actually you only made it big if your movie got picked up and, distributed by them, because they've done a lot of cool stuff. So, but go ahead, Pixel.
I was going to say that actually, out of all the problems that I have with the movie, I do not mind smaller fighters, like you're saying. So smaller, lighter girls fighting. I don't have an issue with that, because if you fight correctly, if you know how to fight with what you're working with, then I think you stand a good chance in a fight. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So that wasn't my problem with this film. But halfway through the movie, and I don't think we're not going scene by scene like we do, say, Twin Peaks. So halfway through the movie, she ends up getting... I'm sorry, that's not even the halfway point. She ends up getting recruited, so it seems, by what are they called? The Destroyers. And that's all just a setup to lead back to her sensei. And at that point, they capture her, the main character, and they have the sensei come to rescue her, and we're
Yes.
watching him now. She's the main character, and she got captured. This is like
Indiana Jones being captured and
no, because Indiana Jones actually has action scenes. This is if you had halfway through the movie, you have Indiana Jones getting captured by Nazis, and then you have his sidekick come and save him. It doesn't work. Even if I understand what they're going for. I understand the story. I understand the point. I'm saying that this is not the movie that it sells to you. You don't name a movie High Kick Girl and then have, here's Sensei. Sensei's always right should be the name of the movie, because he does make good points. I took karate. The whole point of karate is self-defense. You're never supposed to be striking first. It is to defend yourself. But the writing is so poor that it doesn't hit. Their message doesn't hit. And when it gets to that end scene, which I think are we going to talk about it in detail?
We don't have to. We usually just do a superficial thing, unless there's something specific you wanted to bring up.
Well,
I wanted to bring up what happens after.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
She has worked her way towards a brown belt, and she wants a black belt. That's her whole thing, and she's not ready. At the end of this movie, even though she does do the last kick to save her sensei, she's starting again from a white belt. All the buildup she's gone through years is being reset. And I understand what they're trying to say. Oh, she loves karate. She's willing to put in the work. But at the same time, you have taken somebody who is this skilled, who's just below a master, and you're starting her from the bottom for 30 years. What?
Yeah.
Well, the thing I'm more frustrated with this is the fact that I know that the main girl, Rina, Rina Takeda, she can do serious moves. I've seen her do I'll take stuff.
Yeah.
You even see it in Karate Girl towards the end. They don't capitalize it. They just make her become off as just as someone who just. It's like they won't let her do it. Like the sensei has to be the guy, and they just won't let the girl do the moves, which is really
very
weird.
male-centric change of the male movie. Yeah.
But I really wanted to like this film more. But I agree though there's stuff in here that should have been changed around. And I can see why it didn't do so well. This movie came out about in 2009, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2000. And it looks like it had two directors, or one director, and then they had a cinematographer.
That's different.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if the cinematographer, was probably the reason why I had this. That's probably had all the instant replays. And
that's the director's decision now.
Yeah. And it just looked like they had a co-director. They didn't have one single director. But yeah, like I said, this girl should have been allowed to do more moves. I agree that it's stupid having her start over from the end, saying that she's gonna go start from the very beginning. Because only thing I get things is that would have been much better if she would have been like a wild dog as far as she knows the moves, but she's sloppy. She knows. And just saying that he's gonna be like a pun at the end joke. He's like, now you get to start at the bottom because I need to unteach you all that crap you've learned, so you can harness it. But it wasn't a comedy though. It wasn't it should have been more a karate / comedy, but it wasn't.
I can get what they're going for with the message of that she's arrogant and so she's trying to work her way there, so she needs to start from the bottom. At the same time, she went through this. She realizes her mistake, and that's why she's willing to work at it. Okay. But at the same time, that isn't a natural progression.
Yeah.
This is just ripping away any shred of respectability towards her.
Yeah, I would have liked it more if it would have been more like a Street Fighter movie, kind of like this, where she knows the moves, and he comes and teaches her the how to harness stuff and do better, and then towards the end they both kick butt.
Let's say
the point is with the film though, what we're doing is we're picking out the setup, and we're more upset with some of that,
Yeah.
rather than the fact we were just trying to normally say, hey, what do we like? We want to see some ass kicking going on, or something.
Yeah.
And we don't know, culturally speaking, if they were going for something that here in the United States we may interpret as being different, whether it's the sex roles or whatever. I personally actually had no issue with the fact that, even though it seemed like it kind of came a little bit from nowhere, that the man's got to be in charge there at the end.
Mhm.
I had no problems with the fact that she basically needed to kind of start from scratch and work her way up with it. I actually had zero issues with that. My issues were the fact that it was slow and plodding, and I get that she wanted to get somewhere and she was passionate about it, but I just thought the whole setup was wrong. And what really turned me down to the whole movie was, I actually liked the opening scene where, the two girls are walking down the alley by the street or whatever, and one body comes crashing out and the other one hits the car. And it doesn't do the American thing where a body
Yeah.
hits the car and bounces, and there's loud sounds and sirens
There's
and
no glass breaking.
showers. The guy just lands. I'm like, holy crap! What a great way to open a film with a stunt. You
Yeah.
don't know what the hell's going on or what's going to be involved.
I
I
did
thought
like that.
this was really going to be great, and then from there it just kind of petered off and turned into, as one of you guys said earlier, a bit of a nothing burger. Except for
Yeah.
some of the moves were cool. I wanted to see her be bullied in a girls' school in that outfit, whether you call that sexploitation or exploitation.
Yeah.
No, it would have been a great setup for her, that she's learning to take lessons because she was taught one way, can't use them at school. So now she's at this boarding school with all these other girls, and maybe the mean girl at the school's, a master of this particular martial arts. So she seeks out the master in the other one. The typical master student relationship we've come to know and kind of rely on real, as far as an easy template in martial arts movies. I thought it might have made her a bit more likable, because she wasn't unlikable, but she's just sort of there. I mean, so it's just kind of like, this company is known for making not necessarily A-level movies. They remind me of the Disney over there in terms of their production values with movies, because Disney ruins everything that they get their hands on. They have absolutely no idea about it. They just try to make money. And I don't have a problem with a foreign company doing the exact same thing. And I feel what we're all saying is the same thing, that's what it seemed like it happened here. They didn't really care so much for the source material. They slapped something together, put this young girl in there to maybe try to make something of her. In that, they were actually successful, despite the movie not being that good, because this lady's gone on to do some other things and seems to be well employed, if you will. So it's one of those movies where if you like her, or you like the movie that we talked about before, Karate Girls, and you go back and watch it, you can definitely see the growth. You can see what's changed. You can see what's been polished and done better. I don't have a problem with it, but unless you're a hardcore fan of that, to me it's a one-off, and I would choose to spend my time maybe watching a different type of film, depending on what your tastes are too. So I don't want to rag on the movie too much and say it's horrible, but it just didn't work for me. RDB, any final thoughts?
I'm gonna say this is from the people who did a year before this, did a movie called Shaolin Girl, and I'm looking that up. I was looking at it was a Japanese sports action comedy. It's inspired by Stephen Chow's Shaolin Soccer, and they didn't do so well either. So it just might be the director.
You never know. It's
or
possible.
the writer.
Yeah.
Whoever's writing these. Like I said, but then again, we're also I haven't watched this movie, so I can't really say it's bad, because I'm going off of what Americans IMDb, and that's never really believable.
That's true, and again, depending on what culture you're in.
Yeah.
We know here in America that some of these review sites, most of them are paid,
and then again, maybe we just don't like it because but maybe over there, this is a much popular movie.
Yeah,
we've been brought up on other things. I think Americans are more spoiled because we have Hollywood, and we're able to watch other stuff too. So to them, they pretty much have what they have. I don't think they have as much access to other country stuff. So, but again, I don't really know. I can't say that. I want to generalize, that, because that'd be racist. So,
what about you? Any final thoughts?
I'm going to have more respect for Japan and believe that they are capable of making a decent film, because this is not it. There's so much wrong with this movie, and I'm sure the actress, and I haven't seen Karate Girls, which they reviewed. Go check out that review while you're looking through the channel, see what things are there. But I know for this movie, it was just all around really not good, and I feel that way from start to finish. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is.
Well, as I said in this movie, karate is for self-defense, not for fighting, and they prove that in the movie by making it such a slow-burn movie.
All right. That's a miss, ladies and gentlemen. In case you need us to tell you in simplified terms.
It's a miss and it's replay 50 times.
No movie. Zero. Zilch. Nada.
I guess it earned its place. 2 out of 5.
Well,
I'm being generous.
I still want to make my own Bad Ninja movie. So, that being said, I want to thank you guys for listening. Check out our Twin Peaks season 3. We're on episode. We just dropped episode 1 of season 3. Episode 2 is getting ready to drop here. We'll be doing that week by week with the Millennial Man himself, Professor Pixel, who's never seen it. I've never seen season 3 either, so it's a first watch for us. If you got any particular horror movies or supernatural or spiritual or occult or slasher or anything Halloween-y, let us know, because we plan on dropping some extra ones here during the month of October as we get through the holiday season here too. And of course, check us out on Sunday night when we're live with whatever we're going to be going over next. At some point, we might have a special guest and do a special movie review of Malignant, or we may not either. We'll see what the hell happens too. But thank you, Eric Breen, for showing up tonight, letting the bodies hit the car. That's actually humorous. I enjoyed that. You made me laugh. I almost spit out my cup of coffee here on my keyboard, but I didn't. You know why? Because I was already choking on it from how bad this movie was. Anyway. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a good night. As always, stay extreme.
Keep on kicking.
It was a damn fine cup of coffee.
Yeah, not a damn fine movie. Karate